Reilly. Welcome to Wake Up Your Intuition. In this class, we're talking about clairaudience and how this inner hearing sense works, and we will do a few exercises and practice techniques as well. So clairaudience is hearing. Clairaudience is clear hearing. Clear hearing is when you hear a voice that no one else hears. Someone who is strong with this sense is called clairaudient. So usually clairaudience presents as a thought in your mind, not your ears, in your mind. It's in your voice, and that can make it a challenge at first to discern the difference between daily thoughts and clairaudient guidance. With clairaudient hearing, it's rarely a separate voice outside of you. Yes, there are people who might hear an outside voice, maybe calls their name or says something, but generally clairaudience is that voice in your head, in your voice. So they're your thoughts really, but I'll go on to help you understand how you discern them. So discerning the difference between a daily thought or one that you should listen to, clairaudient communication indications are these. The thought recurs and it repeats. It will keep coming to you until you listen. So a thought that keeps repeating, and think of when even a lyric keeps repeating in your head, a lyric of a song, but just 3 words from it keeps repeating. Or it might be that you're hearing, you didn't turn the kettle off in your mind. You didn't turn the kettle off. Maybe, 10 more minutes. You didn't turn the kettle off. So it recurs and it repeats until you listen. So that's one thing that's an indication of a clairaudient communication. They also can be very short thoughts. So short and sharp, this thought that enters and it goes, but it's somehow these thoughts are clearer and you don't miss them. They don't get all jumbled up with daily thinking. Like if you think about daily thinking, if someone were to say to you, what are you thinking about? Often you can't think what you were thinking about, even though you were just thinking. But with these clairaudient thoughts, they're short, sharp, or they can be, but you remember them. I like to describe them as louder than everyday thoughts, but really what I mean is clearer. So it drops in over the everyday thinking that can be quite busy. That's what I mean when I say louder. These thoughts also are clear and succinct. They can be one word or they can be a short sentence. You know what? I've even had clairaudient communication where a lot is said to me. You might be having a shower and this sort of talk is coming to you, if it's for you, or it might be, an insight that's coming to you. So it's clear and succinct. And as I said, it happens over the top of everyday thoughts or even distractions. You might also hear them in a dream or in a sleepy state, or absolutely while you're meditating. So here's another little scenario. Let's say you're driving to work following your usual route, and you're singing loudly to your favorite song that's blasting on the stereo, and you hear the thought, turn left at the lights. Let's say you usually go right, and you do turn left at the lights. That's when this thought pops in. It's brief, it's quick, and you follow it, and then who knows what you may have avoided. Maybe a traffic jam that would have got you home later, or maybe even an accident, but who knows, because we avoided it because you listened to turn left at the lights. But what a lot of you might really relate to is that you have heard a thought similar to that, but either you didn't act in time or you ignored it. It's like, no, I always go right, and you went right, and then maybe you did get stuck in a traffic jam. Yeah? So there'll be lots of things where when we're learning to trust our intuition, where we're like, damn, I knew I should have done that, but you didn't. That's how we learn to trust it and how we learn to listen. Now, if we're using our clairaudience to tune to someone, I'd like you just to remember that when you're working psychically, as in tuning to a living person's energy, the visions that you see or the thoughts you might hear may be filtered through your frame of reference. So I'd like to give you an example of that will help you understand what I mean by frame of reference in this hearing context. Now, let's say you're tuning to someone and you hear an Elvis song. Consider this. It might be your favorite Elvis song, which could make you dismiss it, but don't dismiss it because it's popped into your awareness because it is somehow relevant. Now, here are a couple of possibilities of the relevance. The person that you tune to might be a raving Elvis fan. It could be their favorite song. They might have met him. They might have some association with Elvis, as in their mother adored Elvis, or maybe they've been to Graceland. It's up to your intuition to determine which way to go with it and what it actually does mean to the person that you're tuning to. So your intuition or your clairaudience has given you the Elvis song. You've got to use your other senses to determine what does it mean to the person that you're reading for, right? And that's where your other senses might come in, or you might even hear some more. Oh, that's her mother's favorite song. You might hear this. So I want you just to you play with this and trust how it comes to you. And you might present it to your client or the person you're tuned to like this. Oh, I'm hearing the Elvis song Kentucky Rain, but I have a feeling you met him. You know what though? If you said that to me, oh, Toni, I'm hearing the Elvis song Kentucky Rain, then I'd probably burst in and say, that's my favorite Elvis song. And I'd be super impressed that you heard it. Oh dear. So I hope that you're getting the gist of what I mean by clairaudience and how you use it or how you get to trust it. So for now, let's do some exercises to put your clairaudience sense to the test. For today's exercise, you have to tune to me. But after this, please go off and practice with friends or colleagues or anyone that you can reel into practice for or practice with. You might like to take notes and then comment in the comments when I can give you feedback, or just, see how you'd like to get this feedback when you listen to the class. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to tune. So I want you to close your eyes so that you can hear in your mind what you get. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen for a song that is relevant at the moment to me. Now the relevance, you might hear a word, you might hear the name of a song, you might hear an artist even, or you might even hear some lyrics or a tune. But listen for a song Okay. Now the next exercise is, guys, actually, if we were in a live class or we were sitting in a circle, which in our live circle, then we would have a bit of time to banter backwards and forwards and talk about what was coming to you, and I could give you some context, or we would be doing it for each other. But I guess we're just a little bit limited given that this class is being recorded and I'm going to upload it later, and I'm the one that you're going to tune to. But of course you can take these lessons, you can take these exercises and you can practice them on other people. And if you've got anyone that's into this, get them to practice on you as well. So the next thing I'd like you to do is to tune and listen for my favorite number. It's between 1 and 50. So listen for my favorite number, and I can tell you this, I use it strongly as a guidance tool for myself. So a number between 1 and 50, my favorite number. Now, the best thing is always to go with the first thing that pops into your mind, or your hearing actually. Go with the first thing that comes to you, because it's usually right. And even if it's not right this time, it will be. You will get good at this. I don't want you being hard on yourself if you don't get these right, because it's actually not really about right or wrong at this stage. It's more about getting used to receiving the information through your senses. So that's what I want you to do. Just listen for what you get. Now I'm going to give you another exercise or another task. The next one I'd like you to listen out for is my best friend's name. Now I can go lenient on you with this because I have a couple of very close friends. So yeah, there's a few answers that can come to you, but the challenge is to listen for my best friend's name. The next thing I'm going to ask you to listen for is my age. So just listen for my age. You might already know it. If you do, then so be it. But listen for my age. Okay. Now what we're going to do in this instant is I'm going to give you immediate feedback. And if you want to comment what you got, awesome. You can comment under the lesson. But if you get them all different or wrong to what I'm going to tell you, please do not get disheartened, because as I said just a moment ago, this is more about learning how to listen more so than getting it right, okay? But gosh, if you get it right, do brag, because why wouldn't you? Okay, so here we go. For the song that's relevant, I can't tell you that, but I'd like you to trust what's coming. And if you do want feedback on the song that you got, put it in the comments, and that way I can give you feedback and be like, yes, this is what's going on. My favorite number is 36. I got that number. Actually, I got 236 when I guessed a jar of lollies when I was 7, or how many lollies was in a jar. And while I had no idea about numbers or spirituality or intuition until I was in my mid-30s, really, when I was 7, I grabbed onto that number and I never forgot it. And I still to this day use it as guidance if I see it on a number plate or it flicks up on the clock or on a screen. So 36 or even 236, but I did ask you to pick the number between 1 and 50. Now, when I said listen for my best friend's name, the one, and I'm even staying with her at the moment, is Vanessa, or I call her Nessie or Ness. There's a couple of others, but the other main one, these girls are really special because they're my long friends since we were teenagers. The other one is Libby, or she's known also as Leanne. And I have a couple of other really close friends too, so I'm going to put their names out there in case you got their names. So there's Tracy, Liz, whom I call Lizzie, and gosh, there's others, maybe even Tanya or Tanya. Let's see. I'm going to leave you with those names, and my age is 49. So there we go. Hope you went okay with that. Please share. Now, moving right along, these exercises, you can do them anytime to enhance your clairaudience. So think about a friend and listen for a song depicting their mood. And then have the courage to go to them and send your friend a text and be like, hey, this song came into my mind for you. Is it relevant at the moment? Have them give you feedback, or you can even say to them, I feel like this is what it means for you. So get brave and start handing out these cool, messages that you're hearing. Also, when you're interacting with someone whom you have never spoken to before, you could listen for what their voice sounds like and how they'll answer the phone before you make the phone call. That's another little thing you could do to test yourself. But as I'm always saying, the ideal is that you meditate regularly to develop and continually strengthen your inner senses. And of course, that's why I created our SoulLife Wake Up Global Circle and this platform that we're in right now. It's especially to nurture and support you in this extraordinarily liberating process. So it's really nice to have you here, and doing these short classes it'll do really well for your skills if you just keep practicing. Look, as we always do, we're going to pick a philosophy card, and ideally we're going to be testing what we're hearing, or the clairaudience sense, but however you get what you get is okay too. So I'm just going to randomly pick a card, and I'm going to hold this card up so that you can see it. I'm not even sure if this is going to show around the right way or not, but it's number 5 and it says power play. But what I want you to do is read it intuitively. So whatever's jumping out at you on the card or on the image, just hear ideally whatever message you get from the card, and I'd like you to take that message for yourself. Take the message for yourself. And I'm going to give you a message that comes to me. So given that a lot of people potentially watch this class, will take this message as something that generally all of us can take on board. So I'm just going to take a little tune to it and come up with a message, or let a message drop in. I think I've said this to you before, but for me, when I look at a card, suddenly something drops in and that's it. I'll get what I get, and then it stops also. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen. And I'll tell you how I get it. So it's happened already. So the thing that I'm drawn to there are 2 trees here, and can you see that they're leaning? They're leaning to the side, whereas the other trees are not. So I'm taking that as telling us to be pliable, as in sway, go with the flow. Go with the flow is the message. Go with the flow. And given that this card says power play, if someone has annoyed you, or they need your help, or you're working with someone, you're working on a project, no matter what's going on in your life at the moment, you are to be pliable. Go with the flow. And at whatever time you watch this class and see and hear this card message, it will be relevant somehow. So that's the thing. Go with the flow. Don't be rigid in whatever situation's going on at the moment. That's it for this class. Next class, we're doing claircognizance, which is the knowing sense. And of course, as we always do, we'll do some exercises and practice techniques. So, self-awareness is the ultimate activism, and I'll see you next class.